Good afternoon. It's hard to stand before folks after lunch, especially all that good fried chicken y'all left out there for me when I walked in the door. I had 4 pieces of it. It was good. Thank you, Commissioner Long, and thank all of you. Folks, my name is James C. Fields, Jr., and I hail all the way from Cullman, Alabama, in a small community known as the Colony. And I'm seeking the office of Lieutenant Governor of this great state because I believe in our great state. I believe in fair and equitable government. I believe that everybody in our state has a voice in the legislative process. And so what we're going to do once we're elected in November with your support, your vote, and you telling the folks in your county about us, we're going to look at 3 things: jobs, and more jobs. And people often ask us when we're out on the campaign trail, James, how do you propose to get there? Well, there are 3 things. We're going to work with our existing and new industry. And when I say existing, we're going to work with small businesses. We're going to create more incentives for them to continue to create jobs in their communities, because most of our small businesses are in small communities. And they're providing income for families to provide for their children. Then the next one is Medicaid expansion, which again equals jobs. And then the last one, education lottery. Small business is a major employer in our state, folks. And we need a one-stop shop for small businesses. We need a place for them to come and be comfortable and able to do the things that they do best, because they're entrepreneurs, they're providers. We need to set up small business tax relief. We need to invest more tax dollars in our small businesses. And the only way we can do that is that we've got to bring everyone in this state together, realizing that they are an important part, the vessel in which flows our life. We need to increase financing for them when they get those little hard times, and we often do. You know, right now, our unemployment rate in the state of Alabama is at 7%. In 2011, it was at 8.9%. And folks, that's not fair to the people of Alabama when we're the number 2 automotive producing industry in the country. That's not fair. Something we're not doing right. And if you have observed over the past 4 years, you know what those things are. And we've got to be more conscious about the decisions that we make in our state government, because it affects everyone. The person who's out there on his tractor plowing the field, getting it ready, or getting ready to harvest his corn or his cotton or his sweet potatoes or his soybeans, to the person who's rolling off metal in a steel press in the steel industry, molding products, or the person who is sitting there behind a sewing machine, or the person who's sitting there on a production line in a poultry industry, or the person who's out there pouring asphalt, or the one who is digging ditches, the one who is molding concrete. Those people are the ones that we ought to be concerned with. If we expand our Medicaid expansion, the numbers have it, they're not mine. It will create over 30,000 jobs almost instantly. Now, when you create jobs, that creates revenue. They say, well, we don't want to do Medicaid expansion because it's going to cost the state dollars. No, folks, it's not true. The first 3 years, the federal government will fund Medicaid. By doing that, we create jobs. We keep hospitals in our areas. We create high-paying jobs, nursing jobs, doctors. We bring them all into the fold. And they are paying taxes. And so after that, we pay 10% on every dollar. But the last time I heard it, we sent $1 to Washington, they sent us $1.90 back. But Washington is not our enemy in this race, as some would have it to appear to be. We are our own worst enemy when we're not taking care of our folks, when we're not taking care of our neighbor who lives down the street. And that's not fair. Anytime you cut off the debate in the legislative process, especially in the Senate chamber, you cut off over 140,000 voices in this state, and that's not right. I wish I could stand here and say to you that I stand here as a Democrat or as a Republican or as an independent, but I stand here as a servant knowing that everybody in this state is worth something. The third one, education lottery, creates jobs. The education lottery will create over $100 million more into our education trust fund. We'll never have to worry about funding education again. And it seems that public education has become a bad word to some of us. We don't trust our educators anymore. But as I look at you, a lot of you have got gray hair like me, and some have lost some. Let me tell you folks, public education is the tool that got me to where I am. If it was not for my high school English teacher, I would have never made it through college. If it was not for my history teacher, I never would have made it through college. They took their last few dollars and put it together and paid for my tuition the first year because my parents couldn't afford it. And I wanted to get an education. I wanted to be the first in my family to get a college degree because it made my mother and my father very proud that their son went to college. A boy walking from carrying water from a well over a mile away from his home, working in the cotton fields, big cotton at 3 cents a pound and sometimes 2 cents a pound. Standing behind a mule and plowing it in the fields early in the spring so we get the field ready for crops. That's who we are. Then you talk about prison reform, and I said, well, I applaud our leaders now. They're working together. But folks, we have over 32,000 folks in a 14,000 facility. And if we don't do something immediately with our sentence reform, we are going to be taken over by the federal government. It's going to cost us more tax dollars. What we need to do, and we need to look at this thing, over 18,570 inmates are non-violent criminals. Now you subtract 18,570 from a 32,000 facility, you get less than 14,000. We won't be overcrowded. We need to provide incentives for businesses to hire these guys and gals when they get out of prison. We used to do it back in the early 80s and late 70s, where if you hired an ex-felon, then the government would provide half of the hourly wage that you would be paying that person. And we can do that again. Alabama is one of the richest states. We have the best natural resources in the world right here in Alabama. Rolling hills, beautiful waterways, sandy beaches, good farmland, and we got hard-working people, and we're robbing them of that. I don't run for or seek the office of Lieutenant Governor just to be doing something. It's a vocation. It's a calling. It's something that we need to do. It's something that we've got to do. I wish I could walk away from it. And I'm not standing here pleading with you to give you a sob story. What I'm telling you is that when I go up and down the highways every day, when I walk my community every afternoon, I see the hurt. I see people who are in need. I don't see people who just got their hand out, they just want a hand up. And we got to work with the middle class so that we can grow our economy. We need our coal jobs. That's what Alabama does. We also need other things here in Alabama. And the only way that we're going to get it, Alabama has got to show that she is as diverse as any state, and Alabama can be number one in anything other than football. I'm tired of seeing our public education system being ranked low. I'm tired of seeing our families who are way below the poverty level, and our children in schools don't even have meals at home because their parents are struggling, trying to earn enough money just to keep the power on. And as a legislator and as a lieutenant governor, we need to be working our folks. It's a difficult task, but we're up for the task. And we can change our prison system by just taking a closer look at how we sentence people to jail. This 3-strike rule for a guy who has stole hubcaps 3 times and we lock him up with large criminals is a shame on us. I don't know if you've ever been affected by it, but there are some families out there, and I'm one, where I had a brother who served time in prison because he was too hard-headed to quit smoking dope. But after the 3rd time he learned his lesson, he's now a productive citizen. He works hard at one of the new industries in Cove, one of our steel industries. He's got 3 children that he's providing for. But it wasn't until somebody actually sat him down and says, look, you can do better. And that's what we got to do. And as leaders and as servants, that's what we do. Because what, after all, it affects your budget. It affects how you provide for the citizens in your county, how you keep the roads up. If you're spending all your tax dollars sending it to the prison system or on some frivolous bill that was passed by our legislature when it's overturned, paying attorney fees, guess what? You don't have any money to do what you need to do. And you as county commissioners, you need more money than anybody because you are directly there with the folks. And they're calling on you to provide for them every day. I just want you to know, we're in this race to win. We need your help. We want to serve you as your lieutenant governor to sit in that Senate chamber to make sure that you have a voice at the table. There won't be any more midnight bills. There won't be any bills passed and then overthrown by the court system. We cannot afford to throw away tax dollars. We need every dollar that we can get in this state. And I need your help. I need your vote November 4th. Thank you, Commissioner Long. Thank all of you for allowing us to come and speak. And good luck and have a great rest of the conference.